this out to you, which explains what we're going to be doing. Okay, and this will just help with understanding the task or this part of the test. So this is part 3. In part 3, the examiner may refer, I'm the examiner, may refer to some comments you have previously made in part 2 to allow the discussion to become more complex. Your job is to defend your opinion or give a more detailed explanation of an idea you have already mentioned. So with a lot of these questions, Som, I require you to answer the question. Quite often, it will be a very short answer. So, for example, this first question is, how important is education to an individual? So the answer to that one might be, yes, it is very important. But I do not just want that answer. I want a because. I want to know why you think that. So you could say, yes, I think education is very important to an individual because it helps them to get better jobs in the future. Okay?
Yes.
Are you following? All right, so let's move on to question 2. Seeing as I've already given you an example for question 1. So how is education important to a modern economy? Firstly, let's break down this question. So, modern economy. So first, what is an economy? It's okay not to know. You just say, Emily, I don't know.
I know
or you
it.
can guess. Okay. So an economy is the part of a country where they make their money. So for example, if you are in Thailand and you go to a Thailand store, a Thai store, and you buy something, you are paying into Thailand's economy. If you use an American store or American shop in Thailand, you are paying into an American economy and not into the Thai economy because it is an American company. Does that make sense? So a modern economy is a part of Thailand. So this is very hard to explain. How important is education in the way of getting jobs? I think that can be our question. How important is education for getting a job? Shall I type it out for you? You see that?
Yes.
I'll give you a minute to think. So firstly, Sam, is education important?
Yes.
Okay. Is education important for when you need to get a job?
Yes.
Okay, so how important is it? Sort of important? Not important? Very important?
I think it's very important.
Okay. So why do you think it is important for a job?
Because you have to know the specific information about that job,
Mm-hmm. Great.
and then
So you had to learn something first, and then you can use that in the job. Right? You use the knowledge that you learned from school so that you can do a job.
yes.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. So what are the drawbacks of education? Firstly, do you know what a drawback is?
No.
Okay. So a drawback can be a con or a bad thing about it, and disadvantage. Does that make sense?
Can you please explain more about
So
that?
what could be a bad thing about education? So I could give you an example. Would you like an example?
Yes.
Okay. So a bad thing or a drawback of education could be that somebody learns differently than somebody else. So a teacher could teach in one specific way, but that might be easier for some students and harder for other students. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So what could be one other drawback or disadvantage of education? Okay. This one might be too difficult. You can move on to another one. Oh. How important is a degree in one's life? Firstly, Sam, what is a degree?
I don't know.
Okay, so a degree, you get first the bachelor's degree or BA honors, and then you get the master's degree,
Like
and then
a
you get the
graduate.
PhD or as a doctor. So when you're at university, it's the qualification that you get when you finish university or college. Okay?
Yes.
So that's a degree. Now, how important is that to you?
I think it's important because you have to have it when you want to find work.
Perfect. Good job. I like that. That was a very good, straight to the point answer. Okay. So this one says, can you explain the pros and cons of exams? So firstly, a pro is an advantage. Do you know what an exam is?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, what is an advantage of an exam? What is a good thing about an exam? Why do people have to take exams?
To test their knowledge.
Perfect. Okay. So, for that answer, you could say an advantage of taking an exam could be that the school finds out how much you have learned or what level of learning you are. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So you understood that question and you answered the question well. You just needed a little bit of help with wording the answer. Okay, so we've talked about a good thing about exams. What could be one bad thing, one con, one disadvantage of an exam?
I think that examiners might get stressed.
Okay.
To
They have a lot of marking to do, right?
yes.
Lots of students. Okay, great. Good job. What are other possible ways of assessment? So what they are asking here is instead of exams, what could they do instead to find out how a student is doing? Homework?
Yes.
Yeah. What other things are you told to do or given to do, like assignments at school? I just gave it to you, actually. Assignments. Right?
Yes.
So far we have exams, we have homework, we have assignments. What else are you given to do? What other things, what other tasks do you get given at school?
Play a game.
Great. Yeah. So that could be another way that they teach you or that they find out how much you know. And you don't even realize that you are being tested. I think that's a great one because there is less stress and less pressure if you're playing a game and not writing in an exam. Would you agree? All right. So let us move on to this one. So what are the qualities of a good teacher?
So the students can have a good education.
Great. So a quality of a good teacher would be to make sure that the kids have a good education. Think about your favorite teacher right now, Som. What do you like the most about your favorite teacher?
She is kind.
Great. So you can say the qualities of a good teacher could be that she is kind, or he is kind, and they work hard to make sure you have a good education. Right?
Yes.
Because in that question, we had qualities. So they wanted you to give them more than one quality. So you did that. Good job. Okay. I think we could maybe try this one and then we'll move on to the next page. So what kind of education should be provided for very young children? Firstly, how young is very young?
Like 2 years old.
Great. Okay. So what kind of education should be provided for very young children?
They may learn from a picture or play game.
Great. I like that. That's a very good answer. And you showed how well you understood the question too, which is a great job. All right, so we are going to move on to the next one. Right, we have some reading here to do, I think. I think it's a good idea to do this kind of thing. So we have some questions, and then I am going to have you read a little bit for me, okay? So this one is teaching of science in schools. So here we have here, how is science taught in schools today? How? So in science, how did they teach you?
In my old school, they teach me in many ways, like in classroom or do an experiment in a lab.
Great, good job. That was a great answer. So, do you think the methods of teaching could be improved?
Yes.
Okay, great. Why? Or how? Would you like to answer that question?
Yes. I think when you do an experiment, you can see the obviously of the of the information, and it's easier to understand.
So they need to make it easier to understand?
Yes.
Great. Okay. If you were in charge of initiating new methods of teaching, So basically, if you were in charge of introducing new teaching styles, new types of teaching, right? What improvements would you like to make? So if you were in charge of schools and teaching, what improvements would you like to make? Give me 2 examples.
I want to raise the grades of the children and let them enjoy to study.
Okay, good one. Second one.
I have no idea.
It's okay. I think I could maybe give you an example. So I can give the second one because the first one was totally fine. It was a good one. So I think that they could do more sessions with one teacher and one student instead of one teacher and 30 students. I think that could be an improvement. So, what about the equipment in schools? Do you think it's adequate? Firstly, what is equipment? Do you know what equipment is?
Enough.
Adequate is enough. So you explained